Alrighty, class.
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, so now, good news and bad news. Bad news,
There's only four of us.
I read a question wrong. So I must throw myself on the sword and I must commit ritual suicide because I read the question wrong. The one that we actually had to do the inverse f of g and it gave us a point. So the point that they gave us, I'll go here to show you. This one here. When I was going through, I read this. So what they did is they gave us this, which I read it as 8,2 being the point for this. But the problem is this is the point from G. So G is the inverse. So since that's the inverse, that means that because of this, this was written in the way I read it, I've messed up. I apologize. I'll kill myself after this, but okay. So I made a mistake right here. So because this is already the inverse, this is y comma x. That one was y comma x. So what we did, we messed this up. So y comma x. So what I did is I plugged in the wrong numbers. So I apologize and I will, okay, again, I will go through and fix this. Go here. And so, wow, I need bigger. Nope. Come on, come on, I want that.
It doesn't want it.
Okay, so I'm going to redo this because I plugged in the wrong thing. So the math was correct, but the plug-in was wrong. So I apologize. And I really do hate making mistakes because I feel like a terrible person because I have led you wrong. I have forsaken you all.
You're wrong.
There we go. Okay. So this is backwards. So this should be a 2 over here. And this was G prime of 8. So what that did is, when I plug this in correctly, so when I plug it in again, you'll see this right here. So I'm going to plug in 2 to my derivative that I already have over here. So as I plug it in, so that gave me 2 squared, which was 4, times 3. 4 times 3?
12,
12 plus 2?
14.
14. This is 1 over 14. The other one was a crazy like 1 over 192.
194.
Yeah, 194, something like that. It was a big one. Okay. So on that one right there, yeah. So everything else, so we did all the math correctly. It's just I screwed up and I did not read this as already being the inverse. I read it as this being the point from the function, not of the inverse already. Because it switches for the inverse to be yx, no longer xy. So from here, let's go ahead and go with this. So my point now, so my x value, I'm going to have y, so my point slope minus, is that 8? Yes. Equals 1 over 14 quantity x minus 2. So again, I apologize. I'll kill myself after this. Because I went back, I'm like, man, why is that? Okay, and it kept bothering me, so sorry. Anyway, let's go and take a look at the other problems that we were at. And we did these two already. And You're saying my notes is missing some stuff. We already did slide 6, right?
Yeah.
So here is slide 7. Okay, so we have theorem the derivative, okay, of inverse tan is going to give me, so y prime of, so, or d dx, so they mean the same thing, of tangent inverse of x is going to give me 1 over 1 plus x squared. Yes, no, maybe? Okay. So that's basically, that's what you're going to use to actually solve all these things. So we're going to use, so every time we actually do the tangent one, we're just going to use that. So for the next one, for my formula, it says we're going to solve this one. And so for A, actually, let me change up colors. A is going to give me inverse tangent of 4x. Now this is a chain rule because I have something on the inside and something on the outside. So what would I call my u?
4x.
4x. So u is going to be a 4x. So u equals 4x, my u prime. What's u prime? Yep, just 4. So now I'm going to do my tangent. So my inverse tangent of u all right, so inverse tangent of u. So just use my formula on this one. So that's going to leave me 1 over 1 plus. Hello! Ah, we got cool stuff, don't we? Excellent. Thank you. My birthday.
It looked like it got through the trash and then came out.
No, that's just UPS. So yeah, they'll run it over several times before they finally deliver it.
Wow.
Yeah. Remember my kid Justin?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So his mom sent me his birth certificate and social security card, and like certified mail, like guaranteed next day. Paid like $80 to get the guaranteed next day. They lost it.
Bro.
They lost it, and like a year later, they eventually found it, and it was already like torn into, and yeah, they found it. But stuff like that, that's stuff, not stuff that you lose. That's, yeah, super important stuff. So, yeah, and it's all beat up. So that right there is probably something breakable that they ran over twice. Not just like ran over like going forward, both tires. No, it's like you went forward and then backed up.
Sounds like Denny running.
I know, right? Okay. Remember, that has to do with velocity, right? So positive velocity, you're going forward. Negative velocity, that's when Denny's feeling really dark. He decides to back over that kid, right? Okay. All right. So what am I going to put right here? So this is going to be 1 plus what? I'm clear. Not x squared.
4x.
U squared. There we go. U squared. Because we're just plugging into the formula, right? Because I replaced x, my 4x with u, and I just plug in for my formula, times 4. Very good. And then let's plug it in and clean it up a little. 4 times 1. That should be easy, right? So I'm going to have 4 over 1 plus, now sub it back. If my u is 4x and all of that has to be squared, what am I going to replace that with? What's 4 squared? 16. And x squared? Yeah. We had a problem like this yesterday also, when it was a squared squared. How you guys feel about that? Pretty solid, right? Okay. All right. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Try this one. I want you to try this one yourself. Because it's not evil, even though it looks like it is. Uh, hmm. All right, so let's see how evil this turns out to be. So here, I'm going to say that my u is what? It's all of it. Okay, it's going to be all of it there. And then u prime, there we go. And so now we're going to have sine inverse of u. That's a u, not a w. And then from here, that's going to turn into, the derivative of that is going to be 1 over the square root of 1 plus u squared times derivative, which is 1 over 1 plus x squared. And then put that back in. So 1 over the square root of 1 plus, my u is going to be inverse tangent times quantity of 1 plus x squared. So it's not evil, it just looks complicated. Right? Yeah. So we're just throwing that in there together. All right, let me look at the notes. Ooh, we have another one, don't we? There we go. So next one is going to be the derivative of secant. So we have that y prime is equal to derivative of secant x, and that gives me 1 over x quantity x squared minus 1, where x, absolute value of x, it's got to be greater than 1. Now, can anyone tell me why the absolute value of x has to be greater than 1? Yeah, rad 0, right? But, okay, rad 0, but if it was less than 1, what would I have right here? Because of this thing right here, can I have negatives inside there?
Yes.
No.
Isn't it square?
No, you cannot have a square root of a negative number. Those are imaginary.
Oh.
Those are I values. So imaginary numbers. So in my domain, we know my denominator here. Can x be 0? X cannot be 0, can it? Because in the denominator, can I have 0 in the denominator?
No.
I cannot have 0 in the denominator. So x cannot be 0. Okay, so that's also part of this, where x has to be, the absolute value of x has to be greater than 1. Okay, so that has to work. So now right here, I can't have any values that are less than, because that minus 1 right there is going to give me negative numbers. I don't want to do that. Can't do that. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so now since we did all those, guess what? So the next slide, let's see if I could actually pull up this next slide, because I'm kind of frustrated that I can't pull this in, and my notes are empty. That's what I figured. No, we're not 3-1, we're 3-3. Sorry. That one's not working there. Okay, so it's not that one. There we go. Okay, so this one actually does work. Now here it is. This is important right here, and I really wanted to put this on here, even though that it is on your notes, but I wanted it also on the video for certain people that are not here today. So here it is right here. So find the derivatives, inverse trig functions. So we have this value here, and then it goes through and actually gives you all these other ones that we did not give you at first, that we didn't do problems over. So inverse cosine is going to give me, can't even circle it, give me this one here, okay? Inverse cotangent is this one here, inverse cosecant is this last one down here. Dang it, no, stop doing that. So you're going to have all of them now. You have all 6 trig functions that all you have to do is replace and do your substitutions for this. Other than that, everyone's going to make sure that they all like, share, and subscribe, and hit those notification buttons and support my channel. Buy stuff from the merch store. There we go.